Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of The Sauce, and I got the game of the week here, possibly game of the year, the SEC East Championship, we might as well call this. You already know what game I'm talking about. Tennessee, Georgia, let's go.
Welcome to The Sauce. The Sauce. Sauce. Hey, get the sauce.
All right, Vols are on the road in Athens here. Line is Georgia minus 8.5, and everyone, and I mean everyone, is on Tennessee. 81% of the public, 96% of the tickets on the Vols as of Monday morning. Check this line movement out though. So the books eventually do react to the public being on Tennessee. They drop the line from 8.5 down to 8. But look what happens when they do. We get some Georgia Bulldogs money start to come in, and that line jumps all the way up to 9. So here we are on Friday night. We're looking at Georgia minus 9 now. So let's cap this game. If you subscribe to this channel, you already know the first step. We're running the numbers through the spreadsheet. According to the model, the line for this game should be Georgia minus 3.45. So that's about a 5.5 point lean on the Tennessee Volunteers. So let's break down this matchup. And I mean, how in depth do I really need to go here? We already know what this is. I mean, Hendon Hooker and the explosive Tennessee offense against Georgia and that terrifying defense. So I figured the best place to start would be when Georgia has the ball. The Georgia Bulldogs offense is ranked 4th in OFEI. The defense gets all the hype, but the offense is top 5. Meanwhile, Tennessee's defense all the way back at 33rd. So that's the mismatch. The Georgia offense against the Tennessee defense, that combined with the fact that the game is being played in Athens, Georgia, that's the reason for this point spread. So one of my favorite tools, especially when I'm capping college football, is to find similar opponents. For example, if I'm capping a Florida State game, I'll go and find the Louisville game because those teams are kind of built similarly. If I'm capping an Illinois game, I'll go and find the Minnesota game. I'll try to reference when the opponent has seen a similar team. But in this case, that's impossible because there's only one Georgia and there's only one Tennessee. You can't replicate these teams. I guess we should take a look at the Tennessee-Alabama game because talent-wise, Alabama is the only team that comes close to Georgia on Tennessee's schedule. The problem is Alabama and Georgia aren't similar really at all. Tennessee was able to make plays down the field through the passing game on Alabama because the run game was there. And that's important because people think of Tennessee, they think Hendon Hooker throwing deep balls, big passing plays. And yeah, that's the highlights you see. But in reality, Tennessee is a run-first offense. Did you know Tennessee is 101st in the country in pass play percentage? This is a run-first offense to the max. So the run game was there against Alabama. Let me ask you something. When's the last time a team came into Athens, Georgia, and ran the ball on the Bulldogs defense? Doesn't happen often, if ever. Florida just tried it. They have a good rushing attack. They just tried it. 34 carries, 100 yards. 2.9 yards a carry. Spoiler alert, nobody comes into Athens and runs the ball on Georgia. It just doesn't happen. So right off the bat, I can tell you there's no way that this game's gonna play out the way the Alabama-Tennessee game played out, because no way Tennessee's coming into Georgia and rushing for 182 yards on 4.7 yards a carry. It's just not gonna happen. Since we're comparing Alabama to Georgia and we're taking a look at that matchup, why don't we talk about another difference? The run game, the drive efficiency. Sure, Alabama's offense has more downfield threats. They are more of a home run hitting offense than Georgia is. But this Georgia offense doesn't get the hell off the field, man. Want to know what Tennessee's absolute worst nightmare is? Hendon Hooker standing on the sideline watching Georgia rip off 6 yards a carry and move the chain slowly again and again and again. And I don't see any way that doesn't happen. We can say what we want about Tennessee's offense. It's explosive as hell. It might be the most explosive offense in the country, if not top 3. But Tennessee's defense is definitely not elite. Georgia's offensive line and Georgia's rushing attack, most definitely elite. And I know a lot of people are criticizing Georgia's strength of schedule. They said they've had a cakewalk so far. They haven't played anybody. Well, first of all, they beat the brakes off of Oregon by like 50 points. But overall, there might be some truth to that. Tennessee's played a tougher schedule than Georgia. But isn't that an argument you use when you're trying to show that a team's overrated? Do you really think that this Georgia's team is overrated? They're the defending champions. They're undefeated. We already know this team is legitimate. In fact, you could probably use their strength of schedule as a positive talking point. You could argue that Georgia's just been on cruise control waiting for this game. And now we get to the icing on the cake, the number one factor that puts me on Georgia here. The committee puts Tennessee ranked number 1. And I'm not saying they're not deserving. I'm just saying that Georgia is the defending champs. They're unbeaten. They've looked impressive as hell this year. And they don't get number 1. And the team that does get number 1 is coming into their house. Yo, you're gonna have some pissed off Bulldogs. I love how the entire world is betting Tennessee here, and the books move the line the other way. It moves up. Books seem to love Georgia here, and I do too. I think we're looking at a possible blowout. Give me Georgia -9. I'm on the dogs. If anything changes with this bet, I'll let you know on Twitter, so give me a follow there if you're interested. Also, if you want the full Saturday college football tickets that I do, which is like bet of the day, parlays of the day, top 7 bets, that kind of stuff, head over to KyleKirms.com or download the Sauce Network app. College football week 10 is here. It's a loaded Saturday. Let's have a good day. We had a shitty Saturday last week. Let's turn it around. Let's ride the momentum from this week. It's been a good week. Let's bring in some units. I'll talk to you on Twitter.